This was unprepped for. I have been forced to do this, but I'm gonna do it anyway. So I'm gonna give you a quick talk in English about like real success and what it means for you. It should be only 5 minutes, so I should make it really quick. So I want to talk about 5 elements of a successful person, if it will let me go. So 5 elements of success. In order to be successful, there's 5 things you have to do. First, you trust in God. Next, you trust in yourself. You have integrity, you have wisdom, and then finally perseverance. I'm not going to bore you about each one. Each one could be its own long topic, but what we're just going to talk about quickly is some verses. In each example, then I'm going to give you 3 applications of how to apply those elements of success in your life. So first thing, trust in God. There is a good verse that's in Romans 8:28 that says, and we know that all things work together for good for those who love God. So if you love God and you trust Him, everything will work out for your good. That's success. To those who are the called according to His purpose. So if you're called according to His purpose, you walk in His way, you love God, you trust in Him, you'll be successful. And all things work together for you. Also in Nehemiah, so I try to give you a New Testament and an Old Testament proof of each. In the Old Testament, Nehemiah 1:11, Nehemiah is one of the best places to go for successful messages because Nehemiah is a story of success in itself. So he said, "O Lord, I pray, please let your ear be attentive to the prayer of your servant and to the prayer of your servants who desire to fear your name. And let your servant prosper this day." So he asked it to prosper this day. He asked God for that. And he trusts that God will do that. "I pray and grant him mercy in the sight of this man." He was going to meet the king that he was working for, and he was trying to tell him things that he needed from him. And he prayed to God first that he might prosper this day, and he sees like he gets mercy in the sight of the king when he goes and meet him. Okay, and then, by the way, the picture I chose of Joseph, because Joseph is a real story of success despite tribulation. He went through a lot of tribulation in his life, and at the end he became very successful, the second man in Egypt. This is why I put this picture specifically. And so we're going to go again, 2 verses, one from Romans and one from Nehemiah. Okay, so Romans 8:31 says, "What then shall we say to these things? If God is for us, who can be against us?" So if God is with you, in your side, you trust Him, no one can be against you. No one is going to stop your success. You're going to be successful because God is with you and you trust in Him. And then in Nehemiah 2:20, that's the next chapter. This is a very famous verse that everyone writes to everyone whenever someone is graduating or successful. You guys should know this verse by heart. "The God of heaven Himself will prosper us, therefore we His servant will arise and build." So we trust in God, we're going to arise, we're going to build, and we're going to trust that the God of heaven will prosper us, make us successful. Okay, that is trust in God. Next, trust in oneself. So once you trust in God, you're going to be able to trust yourself because you have God as your back. If you decide to trust yourself and not trust God, you'll never be able to trust yourself. In order to trust in yourself, you have to trust in God first. So first, trust in God. Second, trust in self. And there is a very good verse about this in Philippians 4:13. "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." So you're trusting yourself. But how can you do all things? Through Christ who strengthens you. So God is strengthening you, Christ is strengthening you, and you can do all things and be successful. And this is that you, Bart, or the I, trust in myself. Okay, third one is integrity. And Adil talked about this a little bit as well. So, in order to be successful, you have to have integrity. And when you think of integrity, you think of all those words right there. But if you have integrity, you will be really successful. If you don't have integrity, then you'll be cheating your way into success. You'll eventually get caught, and then no one will ever respect you again. So, are there verses to prove that integrity is important for success? Yes. In Proverbs 28:20, it says, "A faithful man will abound with blessing." So if you're faithful, that means you have integrity, you will abound in blessing. "But he who hastens to be rich," if you take the shortcut to be rich, you start doing stuff that doesn't work in God's way, and you let go of that integrity and do things the wrong way to make money quickly, it will not go unpunished. It's very clear. It will not go unpunished. You will eventually get caught, and you're going to lose all that success because that success was not built correctly. Also, in Matthew 24:45, it says, "Who then is a faithful and wise servant?" Faithful and wise. Faithful, again, is integrity. "Who his master made ruler over his household, to give them food in due season. Blessed is that servant whom his master, when he comes, will find so doing." So, a faithful and wise servant, when his master comes and sees that he's doing that, he has that integrity, what will happen? He's going to make him the head of like everything in his household. He will let him be in charge of everything. Okay, and this brings us to the fourth point, being wise. Okay, are there evidence in the Bible that success and wise go together? Yes. If you're wise, you'll be successful. Think of Solomon. He asked for wisdom from God, and when he got that wisdom, he was very successful, very famous, and for a good reason, because he was really wise. In Ecclesiastes 10:10 it says, if the axe is dull and one does not sharpen the edge, then he must use more strength. But wisdom brings success. So if you're trying like to use an axe to cut a tree, and it's not sharpened, it will not cut the tree. You're going to have to work way harder than if you sharpen your axe. If you sharpen your axe and go cut the tree, it will be much easier. This is the wisdom part. You have to sharpen your edge. And so this is being wise, sharpen your edges. So you don't have to work the hard way. This is wisdom. And in Sirach, this is one of the Deuterocanonical books. So you'll not find it in the regular Bible, but you will find it in an Orthodox Bible, like the one in Coptic Reader. A wise heart and which has understanding will abstain from sin, and in the work of justice shall have success. So if you have a wise heart, you shall have success. Last one is perseverance, and then we're going to talk about 3 applications of it, of like success, using those 5 points. So when I think of perseverance, I think of 1 Corinthians 9:24. Do you not know that in a race all the runners run, but only one receives the prize? So everyone runs and only one receives the prize. So run that you may obtain it. This is perseverance. So you can't just give up midway when you see other people are running ahead of you and you say, okay, these people are running ahead of me, I'm going to let them take the prize. No, you're going to keep running until the end, and you're going to run that whole mile. And even if you didn't win, you're going to try until the end. You run that you may obtain it. You run that you may obtain that reward at the end. Okay? So those are the 5 things. We're going to review them quickly and then talk about how to apply them. So 1, trust in God, trust in self, have integrity, be wise, and persevere. How? I'm going to talk about 3 applications. First, always ask for God's validation, not others' validation. So when you do something, don't wait for people to say, oh, look at how great and how successful this guy is. Usually the things that the people will applaud you in the world for as success is usually not stuff that are really working toward God's way. So this is success as defined by the society standard, especially in the US and in Egypt and anywhere else you will find that the way the society defines success, more likely than not, it will have stuff that's not going to be real success. It will be worldly success. But if you only seek God's validation, you will find real success through God's validation, not others' validation. Doesn't mean that other validations is bad, but God's validation should be your key and what you're looking for. And then, if people validate you based on God's validation, those are good people. If other people don't validate you, you don't care. You care that God is the one who's giving you the validation. Now, another good way to apply this is success during weakness. And the best way to think about this is a seed. So when you get a seed and you plant it, it only produces a tree after the seed goes deep in the ground and starts to break apart and get buried. Then you start seeing the tree. So at that very time where the seed is really weak, at its very weak point, this is the time where the seed really succeeds and its success shines by building a big tree that grows out of it. So sometimes weakness is the key to success. You being buried, you being broken apart, might actually be what leads you to success. Finally, I have a message for you. Try to find your success in others. Great example of this, the people that are graduating today, right in front of you. You guys are my success. I define my success with you guys. The fact that you are all in a church here today, sitting right in front of me, this is success. And this is defining my success through others, through other people. You are my success. Everyone who's graduating today. And so with that, I want to conclude with this verse. It's in 3 John 1:4. And it says, I have no greater joy than to hear that my children walk in truth. That's each and every one of you today. You all walk in truth, and I have no greater joy than seeing you all graduate today. I'm very proud of you all.